So you're thinking about studying in Australia. Well, you've picked a really interesting time to do it. The government has just dropped a brand new policy that's going to change the game for who gets a spot and how. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what this means for you and your application. So if that's you, if you've got Australia in your sights, there is one number you absolutely need to know. It's the number that defines this entire new policy. Okay, here it is, 295,000. Go ahead and burn that number into your memory. So what is it? That is the new official cap on international student enrollments for the year 2026. And believe me, it signals a major shift in how Australia is approaching international education. Okay, so to really get what a big deal this is, we've got to look at the numbers in context. You need to see where Australia has been and where it's heading now. They really do tell a pretty dramatic story. All right, check this out. Back in 2019, things were booming. The peak was almost 760,000 students. Now look at the 2025 cap. It's way down at 270,000. And while the new cap for 2026 is a little higher at 295,000, it's still less than half of what it was just a few years ago. Make no mistake, this is the government hitting the brakes and hitting them hard. So what does all this mean? It's pretty simple, actually. After the pandemic slowdown, the demand to study in Australia has just exploded. The government isn't trying to slam the door shut. They're trying to manage the flow of people coming in. That's what these caps are all about, managing the boom. So, with only 295,000 spots up for grabs, the million-dollar question is, who gets them? The answer tells you everything you need to know about the government's new priorities. And right away, you can see that not all schools are created equal under these new rules. Public universities, they get the lion's share, almost half the total spots, with 145,000. Vocational education, or VET, gets a huge chunk too, at 95,000. But look at the private universities. They're only getting 30,000. It's crystal clear where the focus is now. But wait, it's not quite that simple. Those numbers aren't totally set in stone. The government has built in a couple of ways for institutions to earn bonus spots. If a university has solid partnerships in Southeast Asia, that helps. Or, and you really got to pay attention to this one, if they actually build new student housing, they can get a bigger slice of the pie. Okay, this is huge. For some of you, there's a secret path, a way to get around the cap completely. If you're already studying in Australia, say you're finishing up high school or doing a pathway program at a TAFE, and then you move on to a university degree, you're exempt. You don't count towards the cap. That's a massive advantage if you're already in the pipeline. And it's not just about institutions. The government is also playing favorites with visa applications. If you're a student from a Pacific nation, from Timor-Leste, or you have a government scholarship, your application is going to the front of the line. And you have to understand, this isn't random. This is all about foreign policy. It's Australia using education to strengthen its relationships with its neighbors. So why all the fuss? Why this super strict cap? Well, to get the government's thinking here, you have to understand just how gigantic the international education industry is for Australia. Let's start with the number that'll make your head spin, $50 billion. Yep, that's what international education pumps into the Australian economy every single year. It's one of their biggest exports, period. But you know, it's not just about the cash. This industry supports over 250,000 jobs. And beyond that, it's what they call soft power. It's about building friendships and influence around the world, all through education. Okay, but what about housing? You hear it all the time, right? International students are driving up rents. Well, what does the actual data say? Australia's own Reserve Bank looked into this and found the impact on rent is, in their words, modest. Still, to deal with that perception, the government is now directly rewarding the universities that build their own student housing. Okay, so we've looked at the what and the why. Now for the most important part. What does this all mean for you? Let's build your personal game plan to navigate this new world. All right, get ready. Here is your checklist for success. First up, you've got to target public universities and VET programs. Why? Because that's where the seats are. Simple as that. Second, really dig into those pathway programs, like TAFE. It could be your cap-free ticket to a degree. Third, do your homework. Find the universities that are building housing or have those strong ties in Southeast Asia. They're the ones likely to get extra spots. And last, a little reality check. Unless you're from the Pacific or have a specific scholarship, the visa priority thing probably won't apply to you, so focus your energy on the first 3 points. So the bottom line is this. The old spray and pray approach, just sending out a ton of applications and hoping one sticks, that's over. It's not going to work anymore. The government's message is loud and clear. You have to be strategic. You've got to start earlier, plan smarter, and pick institutions that are playing by these new rules. You know, this quote just nails it. Australia's doors are definitely still open, but they are no longer wide open for just anyone. We're in a new era of managed growth. It's not just about good grades anymore. To get in, you need a smart, strategic plan right from the very beginning. So that leaves just one final question, and this one is for you. Take a hard look at your plan right now, your list of schools, your timeline. After everything we've talked about, is it really strategic enough to get you where you want to go?